Zulrah is not quite the boss she used to be. People literally called her the money snake for a good reason. But ever since the Blowpipe nerfs, scales have dropped quite a bit, and Vorkath has effectively taken her place as the mid-level farming boss. Zulrah still has a pet, and is one of the few bosses with interesting untradeable drops besides that, the Magma and Tanzanite mutagen. Zulrah is still a common T-bow rebuild boss, but she can be taken a step further with some complicated switches. This guide is going to assume you know the Zulrah basics like rotations, although I will delve into the different rotations a little bit. Also, big shoutouts to the pet cord. The majority of this information comes from them. The only requirement someone with the gear I use might not have is a Desert Amulet 4. You can technically use house tabs with your ult chilling inside to take drops, but this is a lot slower and removes Vengeance when leaving your house. For gear, this is what I use. Equipped, you want Max Mage with Harm Staff or Volley in hand. If you don't have a Harm Staff, you can use Thralls and a Sang for similar kills per hour. Bring in an Arcane as offhand if you're doing that. If you don't have a Volatile Staff, Pipe Specking is also fairly similar DPS. I choose to camp Suffering. If you really wanted to sweat, you could bring Archers and Seers ring switches as well as Suffering, although it really makes the switches harder and is really only for PvE potential. In the inventory, I lay out an 8-way range switch. Barrow's Gloves instead of Xerath Van Braces is a very small DPS loss and is perfectly acceptable. Blowpipe used to beat T-bow's DPS on Bluephase Zulrah, but now T-bow beats it out. Pipe is still used a bit for pillar stalling and fitting in extra hits where T-bow wouldn't be able to fit another hit. For supplies, I bring 2 Divine Ranging and 2 Anti-Venom Plus. I pot both of these only when they will actively do something. Say I just got venomed or I'm just about to start ranging. I don't take any prayer potions because you will never run out of prayer before Zulrah dies here unless something's gone catastrophically wrong. A few Gothic's Rest for tick eating and Cairn Wands for combo eating in rare sticky situations. I bring my Max Cape for its various benefits. Replace with more food if you don't have one. Desert Amulet for stat restoration each kill. Zul-andra teleport scrolls to teleport back to Zulrah. Imbued Heart is a minor DPS increase on red Zulrah, so you may as well take one. Finally, I bring Law, Fire, Air, and Wrath runes. I leave Air runes out of the pouch as the Harm Staff eats Air runes for breakfast, and you can easily run out of 16,000 Air runes in a single Zulrah session. The Law runes are so we can teleport to Seer's Bank for one of the closest banks to a teleport in the game. You don't technically need Fire runes, but it prevents your autocast being ripped off your harm, which is really handy. You can also carry Zulrah scales in the inventory to stack them up. Leave 2 inventory spaces left over for Zulrah loot. I do use an ult for this. Your ult can be a freshly bonded level 3 if you want. That's really all you need. It is minorly beneficial for your ult to venge you before kills, so if it has that, go ahead and put it to use. It's near impossible to venge on blue phase rotation, so it's really not the end of the world if you don't have venge. The main purpose of the ult is to pick up Zulrah loot that you drop to it, so you can continue killing Zulrah. You could also theoretically drop more supplies to your main from your ult, but this has a lot of complexity. I prefer to just bank at Seers when out of supplies. Some quick basic info about Zulrah. Your max hit at Zulrah is capped at 50, and any hit over 50 is rerolled into a 45 to 50 hit. This is why Harm Staff significantly speeds up kills as it maxes a 49 in this setup and is 4 tick, which is dramatically better for both accuracy and attack speed than a T-bow. You still want to use things like Dragon Arrows over worse ammunition, as it increases the chance of you landing a hit between 45 and 50. Volatile spec uses 55% spec energy and is extremely accurate, which maxes an 80. It's a great choice to use on red phase as it almost always hits. The snakelings also come in 2 varieties, magic or melee. Anytime Zulrah is not attacking you and there are snakelings on the field, it is ideal to pray protect from magic, as this can prevent quite a bit of unnecessary damage. Zulrah maxes a 41, and technically can be tick eaten, but her projectile from her prior attack does not land before the next projectile is fired, meaning your health before you took the initial hit is what the second hit is reading. For example, you're at 45 health, and you take a 25 from the first projectile. That second attack can still hit a 41, even though you're at 20 HP. Make sure you keep that in mind, and you intelligently either tick eat or combo eat as necessary for blue phases. First, you're going to run your ult over to Narda, and have him chill in front of the altar to pick up loot. This altar is a full stat restore just like a house pool. Your main can teleport here, overcharge his health to 106, take Avenge from the ult if he can use it, and then use a scroll to teleport over to Zulrah. Turn on Preserve and hit the Imbued Heart as you run to the boat, as well as priming your special attack on the Volatile. Activate Augury after taking the boat and run to this corner. Right-click Zulrah so you can attack her as soon as the camera transitions from the cutscene. Use your Volatile spec. If you forget to do this at the beginning, you can use your spec at any time during this first phase. You will get 4 Harm Staff casts and 1 spec off during this initial phase. This initial phase transition is the easiest place to lose ticks, as we don't know what phase Zulrah will enter. What I do personally is activate Rigor and hover my rain switch, preparing for her to come up as blue to quickly do my 8-way and hit her. If she comes up as red, which is 50% of the time, just activate Augury and begin attacking. If she comes up as green, we want to tank her first hit to proc the Venge. So in the same way, just put on Augury. And when you see an attack coming, turn on Protect from Ranged when you can. I'll go through an example kill here for each of Zulrah's 4 rotations. For green rotation, take that first Venge and begin attacking. Sometimes you will tank the hit as a 0, so just deactivate and reactivate protection until she lands a hit. When she starts shooting out snakelings, activate Protect from Magic. You always just barely recover your volatile spec as Zulrah goes under, and can't fit it in, unfortunately. So prime it and begin running so you can immediately spec red phase Zulrah when she comes up. Continue attacking and dodging red phase. When she goes under, switch into ranged and activate Rigor. Typically Zulrah dies on this phase or earlier, but this was a relatively slow kill. When Zulrah goes under, begin running to the other side and switch into mage and begin hitting Zulrah from this tile. For some reason I always forget what's coming after this blue phase. Oh well. When she goes under again, switch into ranged and attack blue phase Zulrah. Finally, when she goes under, run to the other side while switching into mage and finish Zulrah off. If the kill is still going beyond this point, something's gone horribly wrong. Blue phase Zulrah is the hardest not to lose ticks on. Have that Rigor primed, and when you see her pop up, rapidly switch into ranged and click her. If you felt you timed it properly, like I did here, and you didn't lose any ticks, you can fit 2 Blowpipe hits at any point during this phase. If you lose a tick or 2, just attack with pipe once and switch back to bow. Get Protect from Magic up when you can. Initially, she just spawns snakelings, so you have loads of time to do that. Zulrah will do 6 attacks here before going under, at which point start running to the other side. Zulrah then comes up as green, so quickly switch into magic and drop your volatile spec whenever you can. Get Protect from Magic up when you can. This phase is fairly short and she will shoot some poison clouds before diving. If you manage to kill her here before she dives, you've just gotten the Grandmaster Combat Achievement speed kill. Quickly switch back into ranged and begin firing. When she dives, run to the other side and switch into magic, not forgetting what phase it is like I did. Typically, Zulrah will die at the latest on this phase. Red Zulrah has 2 diverging paths. This first one I'm going over will be the south green Zulrah rather than west. Red Zulrah will try to poke you twice before going under. After you cast the final time, run through this fog to the corner of the pillar while switching into ranged. We have to take a little bit of poison damage here in order to fit all 4 T-bow shots on Zulrah this next phase, abusing pillar stalls. Fire your T-bow at Zulrah, then go behind pillar, waiting 4 ticks. Fire a pipe shot, then a T-bow shot before going behind pillar. Repeat that for 4 of Zulrah's attacks. If she's not damaged you on the 3rd attack she did, take your Protect from Magic off and tank that last hit on purpose, as you won't be able to get your Venge off if Zulrah comes up on the west side for next phase. After the 4th shot, Zulrah comes up south, run to the other side while switching into magic. Send your volatile spec when you're able. You can send it at any point during this phase. She will then come up as red, so just stay in place and continue casting. After 2 pokes, she will dive and come up blue, so just switch into T-bow. She almost always dies at or before this phase. If Zulrah comes up on the west side, continue praying Protect from Magic, as she will only spawn snakelings and begin maging her. Again, dropping volatile spec when you can. When she dives, switch back into ranged and attack Zulrah while remaining in place. She almost always dies at this point. Between any given kill, just teleport to Narda, drop the loot for your ult, hit the altar, have your ult Venge, and teleport back with a scroll. Your ult can easily Venge you while you are mid-teleport animation as well, so keep that in mind. If you need to bank at any point, just teleport to Seer's Bank for a very fast bank. You need to bank typically once per hour. Those Zulrah scrolls might seem costly at 20k a pop, but they actually speed your kills up so much that you will profit more than just not using them. I'm able to hit about 35 kills per hour in a good hour, versus T-bow camping's 25 kills per hour. A Zulrah kill is currently 122k, so it comes to 4.3 mil total earnings per hour. You can just subtract 35 Zulrah scrolls from that profit, which is about 800k, and we get 3.5 mil GP an hour, which is surprisingly not bad at all. We don't do this for profit, obviously. We just want those mutagens and the pet. The mutagens are 1 out of 3,277 to hit the table, or 1 out of 6,553 for a specific color if you want one. Serphelm is kind of dead content now with Torva, so I found I care about those mutagens a lot less than I used to. Still don't have one. The Zulrah pet is 1 out of 4,000. It's the only pet in the game with this rarity. Its transmogs are relatively pretty, and I do like it a lot. At 35 kills per hour, it's a 115-hour grind for the pet, which isn't too bad at all. If you're watching this when it goes up, I'll be doing hyper-efficient Zulrah on my Twitch page. Feel free to ask any questions you have there, and throw me a follow. And that's it for the guide. Leave a like if you liked it, and or subscribe. Thanks, guys.